The dark, cramped archives at Encyclopedia Britannica feel like hallowed ground.
It's very rewarding to work for a company that has a pedigree going back 2.5 centuries.
Theodore Pappas has been executive editor for more than 20 years. He says being surrounded by this much history never gets old.
We have business records and logs, minutes of boards meetings going back to the late 19th century. So it's really quite an array of a mirror, in essence, of the history of the West. Encyclopedia Britannica was founded in Edinburgh, Scotland in 1768. And its founding mission was rather straightforward: to bring reliable and useful information not to a narrow educated class, but rather to the masses.
What Encyclopedia Britannica did, and I think way ahead of their time, was to understand that actually bite-sized information can also be very powerful.
The first edition was not without controversy.
One article in particular posed a particular problem for Britannica in 1768, and that was the article on midwifery. Britannica's detailed illustrations, 3 pages of them, were the most graphic images of childbirth and a woman's anatomy ever mass distributed, and King George III himself denounced Britannica and encouraged all loyal citizens of the crown to destroy the offending article.
In fact, Britannica's own first edition is missing the entire article. Pappas says the original owner probably followed the advice of the king. By the early 1900s, Britannica became an American company, and in 1932 began employing door-to-door salesmen to help boost sales during the Great Depression.
Door-to-door salesmen became a mainstay of the company and was virtually synonymous with the print set for decades.
Determined to make education a priority, Britannica films began in 1943 and were widely shown in classrooms across the US and UK until the internet replaced them.
The mission remains the same as it did in 1768. Interestingly, the very first sentence Britannica ever published on page 1, paragraph 1, line 1 of volume 1 of the first edition states, "Utility ought to be the principal intention of every publication." And that hasn't changed. It was just as true in the 18th century as it is in the digital world of the 21st.
What they do hasn't changed, but how they do it is very different. Adapting to a digital world has been Britannica's greatest challenge in its 250-year history.
We created the first digital encyclopedia for LexisNexis in 1981, the first multimedia CD in 1989, and we even launched the first encyclopedia on the internet in 1994, which was 7 years before Wikipedia.
Britannica stopped printing encyclopedias in 2012, and today, 100% of revenues come from its digital products through online advertising and subscriptions. CEO Karthik Krishnan admits it is a struggle to compete with free, but he says Britannica's advantage is a reputation built over time.
Who are you going to trust? Are you going to be happy with an answer that shows up from somewhere on the internet that you can't vet? Trust is the new algorithm. The fact that the internet is besieged with proactive misinformation, I think the world is moving back into trusted sources of information.
In 2018, Britannica celebrated 250 years in business with a special anniversary edition, honoring the past, but still looking far to the future.
Welcome to Britannica's Guardians of History.
We're now talking about artificial intelligence and using Britannica content in voice-activated products. We feed off our past in order to get our momentum for the future, and that's very exciting.